Put your hands up where I can see them right now. You folks believe you can just defy law enforcement commands. The growl cuts through the 3:12 a.m. shadows as Officer Derek Harlan looms over Sofia Ramirez at her front entrance. Crimson and sapphire flashes pulse over her medical uniform like a bad dream rave. "Officer, I beg you. I'm a medical professional. I just finished my shift," Sofia murmurs, her tone quivering as she lifts shaky palms. Her clinic badge reflects the squad car's beam. Harlan's chuckle is sheer malice. "Medical professional, sure, and I'm the president." He hawks a glob near her shoes, his fingers lingering near his gun. "Tip from a caller claims you've got arms stashed inside. Time for a quick property check. Sir, you lack a search warrant. I don't require one for armed smugglers." But Harlan doesn't know who's resting above or what's set to happen next. Ever witnessed retribution delivered freezing? The Harbor Point area slumbers serenely beneath a blanket of constellations. Stars and stripes flutter from verandas like watchful guardians. Armed forces kin emblems shine on vehicle fenders. Army parent, Ranger father, devoted Air Force household. This isn't the battleground Harlan envisions in his distorted view. Sofia Ramirez's Toyota Camry parks in the drive, clinic lot tag still swinging from the mirror. The rear holds Kids Craft Works and a Universe's top mom thermos. Her healing qualifications dangle in a transparent sleeve. St. Mary's Pediatric Center Critical Care Unit. Within the humble split-level residence, kin snapshots adorn the corridor surfaces. Marcus Ramirez in complete formal attire earning the silver medal. Sofia in her healing commencement robe. 9-year-old Liam's baseball award. 13-year-old Mia's merit list award. A clan that defends, safeguards, and mends. The cooking area faintly scents of Dawn's waffles. Marker sketches blanket the fridge. Outline figures of Papa in service gear. Mama in uniform, all clasping under a spectrum. A mission tracker tallies days till Papa returns, marked off merely the day prior. Above, Lieutenant Marcus Ramirez dozes in profound fatigue slumber. 16 years of Army Ranger missions have conditioned his form to seize repose when feasible. His formal attire dangles ironed and prepared in the wardrobe, lines of medals narrating tales of bravery amid combat. The Ranger insignia sparkles on his bedside, emblem of the nation's premier fighters. Marcus arrived back the previous day from a secret 7-month assignment, his thoughts still adapting to domestic schedules. The youngsters had crafted Greet Home Papa signs. Sofia had skipped her evening to join him, but the center phoned with a crisis. A 7-year-old burn sufferer required her skills. "Go rescue souls, lovely," Marcus had breathed, pressing lips to her brow. "I'll await your return." Now he rests tranquilly, believing his kin secure in the land he devoted his profession to shielding. In nearby chambers, Liam and Mia envision pure visions. Liam's space brims with play warriors and replica planes. Mia's partitions showcase tech contest bows and images with her service Papa. Both youths understand Papa combats villains distant to maintain their safety domestically. The locale itself narrates a tale of subdued loyalty and laboring dignity. Retired Sergeant Major Lee resides adjacent, his shed studio packed with Veterans Association relics. Opposite, Elena Torres instructs primary grades while her spouse deploys abroad. A few entrances away, the Martins operate a tiny gardening firm and mentor youth sports. These clans recognize one another's offspring, exchange festive dinners, and support service partners amid missions. When Marcus departs, locals monitor Sofia. When Elena's mate sails off, Marcus repairs her damaged gate. This is the nation at its finest. Varied, nurturing, bonded by duty and offering. Officer Derek Harlan perceives none of this warmth. 13 years in uniform have solidified his spirit and tainted his thoughts with ethnic bias. His record swells with grievances, overkill force, biased halts, oral mistreatment. Each event dismissed, concealed beneath the slim azure barrier of force shielding. 4 weeks passed, Harlan seized Jamal Lee for dubious conduct. The African-American youth awaited his academy transport. 3 weeks ago, he held Pastor Martin in a vehicle stop, asserting the cleric's BMW was overly lavish for his type. Last week, he pillaged the Singh clan's market, discovering zilch but inflicting thousands in harm. The accusations accumulate like poisonous refuse, yet Harlan's association ties and force maneuvers preserve him patrolling. His novice associate, Officer Jenkins, has observed the trend, but wants the boldness to voice out. The structure shields its members, even if those members are predators in attire. This evening, Harlan's prejudice has located a fresh victim. The nameless hint regarding arms and odd behavior stemmed from a faulty shed entrance that roused an anxious local. A mere sound grievance has turned into Harlan's pretext for ethnic targeting. As Sophia quivers at her entrance, her kin rests securely above, relying on fairness and defense. They lack awareness that wickedness dons a shield this night, that their haven is poised to turn into a conflict zone, that their trust in the framework will fracture in the coming moments. The platform is prepared for a clash that will reveal the decay in national enforcement and the strength of honesty to overcome bias. Harlan's shoes thud over the sill sans invite, his mass occupying Sophia's portal like a flesh ram. The odor of old brew and bias emanates from his gear as he shoves beyond her into the den, his combat harness grazing the frame. "Please lower your tone," Sophia breathes, pressing, her palms yet elevated in yield. "My spouse just came back from assignment the day before. He requires his repose post 7 months abroad." Harlan's guffaw is utter toxin, resounding off the kin space partitions covered with service honors. "Spouse, what myth are you peddling now, darling?" He seizes a bordered image from the shelf. Marcus in full Ranger formal, accepting a silver medal honor, fine outfit, gathering snaps. "You can purchase this service costume junk any place nowadays." The sturdy border smashes to the timber surface, crystal bursting like minuscule gems over the area where Liam and Mia frolic with their playthings each dawn. Sophia recoils but refrains from tidying, aware any abrupt action might heighten Harlan's scarcely restrained hostility. "Sir, that's my spouse. Lieutenant Marcus Ramirez, United States Army Rangers," Sophia states, her tone firm despite the shake in her palms. "He's been on mission for 7 months in secret tasks abroad. You can confirm his duty log via Slice the Nonsense Woman." Harlan boots the shattered border away with intentional viciousness, his tone oozing with ethnic poison. "I grasp precisely what occurs in dwellings like this. Narcotics cash funds, elegant service outfits, and bogus badges. The phrases strike like bodily hits." Officer Jenkins fidgets uneasily near the entry portal, his novice senses blaring that all about this scenario breaches fundamental enforcement method. The dwelling is spotless, scenting subtly of lavender wicks and new wash. Kin images blanket every plane in affectionate plenty. Youngsters' creations adorn the cooler like vibrant invocations. This mirrors no narcotics den from his training hall lessons. "Harlan, perhaps we ought to summon reinforcements," Jenkins proposes feebly, his tone scarcely heard over his associate's hostile respiration. "Or confirm the nameless account with control prior to advancing. I don't need some greenhorn instructing me on my duties." Harlan growls, sans diverting his hunter stare from Sophia. His fingers relax casually on his firearm like a duelist in a warped frontier tale. 13 years in this jungle, kid. I can detect offenders from 4 streets distant." Sophia extracts her center identification from her uniform pouch with quaking digits, the cord strap snagging the stark veranda glow flowing via her breached portal. "Officer, kindly inspect my papers thoroughly. I'm a critical care healer at St. Mary's Pediatric Center. I just concluded a 13-hour stint preserving a 7-year-old burn sufferer's existence. You can contact my overseer, Dr. Elena Vargas, to affirm my position and timetable." Harlan grabs the badge and scrutinizes it with staged doubt, elevating it to the illumination like a fake note. Counterfeit as a $2 coin, likely produced at a print shop with your other sham papers. He flings it negligently onto the sofa where it settles amid Mia's study sheets. "You types think you're so smart with your phony occupations and pilfered vehicles, don't you?" The ethnic bias in his tone slices through the chamber like a corroded edge. Jenkins grimaces noticeably, aware he should intervene, but frozen by dread of his elder associate's recorded pattern of reprisal against enforcers who challenge his approaches. The novice has caught murmured tales in the changing area about Harlan's notoriety, observed the interprobe's grievances that inexplicably vanish from logs. "Sir, I've never violated a law in my whole existence," Sophia declares, her tone acquiring vigor despite her evident fear. "I offer time each Saturday at the Warriors Recovery Hub. I guide my daughter's volleyball squad. I aid this society daily via my healing vocation. Spare the Oscar show for someone who cares. Harlan commences unlocking galley compartments and washroom shelves sans legal basis. His unlawful probe methodically ruining the clan's seclusion and safety sense. Marriage porcelain crashes to the ground as he plunders their items. Nameless hint claims you've got arms hoarded here someplace. Time to uncover what you're truly concealing behind this neighborhood volleyball mama facade. The noise of cracking timber resounds as Harlan pries a secured bureau compartment holding kin papers. Birth, proofs, union certificate, Marcus's service logs, all the forms validating their rightful national aspiration dispersed like party bits over the breached surface. Above, the aged planks groan gently as somebody rouses from profound repose. Harlan stiffens immediately, his fingers shifting to his firearm with rehearsed velocity. Who else resides in this dwelling? How many partners have you concealed up there? My youngsters, Sophia breathes, parental safeguarding igniting in her tone. Liam's 9 years old. Mia's 13. Please don't rouse them. They've endured sufficient distress with their papa on mission abroad for over half a year. Youngsters? Harlan's gaze illuminates with spiteful chance, identifying fresh influence to intimidate this clan. Well, indeed. Might need to summon youth welfare right away. Can't permit blameless kids residing in an arms depot with unlawful firearms scattered all over. The menace strikes Sophia like a corporeal attack, robbing her air and weakening her legs. She comprehends with stark lucidity that this attired hunter possesses the official might to ruin her clan's existence, even sans a fragment of proof. The framework crafted to shield compliant residents has become their utmost survival peril. Harlan persists in his unsanctioned frenzy, flipping sofa pads and emptying whole bureau compartments onto the ground. Invoices and kin papers scatter everywhere. Home loan stubs, center coverage forms, academy meal logs, dance class slips. All the ordinary costs of standard kin existence that utterly oppose his offender arms runner tale. Look at this dubious documentation, Harlan mocks, purposefully tromping through the strewn papers with his soiled footwear. Likely fabricated to mask your actual earnings from arms dealing. Runners always attempt to appear valid with sham kin arrangements. A tiny, scared voice floats down from the upper level. Mama, why are there boisterous, furious sounds below? Is Papa all right? Sophia's parental drives erupt like a starburst. I'm ascending, little one. All will be fine. She advances instinctively toward the steps to soothe her frightened daughter, but Harlan's mass obstructs her route like a flesh barricade. Nobody shifts anywhere sans my clear approval. He snarls, his fingers now overtly hovering over his sheathed firearm. The peril couldn't be clearer if he inscribed it in glowing script. Kids remain precisely where they are, till I secure this whole dwelling for arms and illicit goods. Jenkins at last gathers sufficient valor to locate his voice, though it emerges as scarcely more than a murmur. Harlan, we lack a probe warrant for a complete dwelling probe. Perhaps we should reach our overseer before continuing with, we've got reasonable suspicion out the wazoo. Harlan barks like a frenzied beast. Nameless hint about arms grants us full legal power to probe for prompt enforcer security issues. He grasps his enforcement transmitter and deactivates it with a purposeful, sinister snap. Can't permit control meddling while we're performing grave enforcement tasks here. The minor yet meaningful deed sends freezing shivers down Jenkins's back. Deactivating transmitter contact breaches every protocol they absorbed in training, effectively isolating them from oversight, responsibility, and support aid. He comprehends with increasing dread that Harlan is proceeding entirely off-script, functioning in a perilous void, sans monitoring or forced dialogue. Sophia observes the transmitter quiet, too. Her healing education aiding her identify the strategic importance. She grasps with frightening sharpness that she's now utterly at Harlan's whim, detached from any external assistance or mediation. No observers except a novice associate too cowed to meddle. No link with the external realm. No safeguard except her own poise, resolve, and frantic wish that honesty will somehow triumph over prejudice. But above, Lieutenant Marcus Ramirez is starting to awaken. Harlan's unlawful probe escalates with the rage of a soul gripped by ethnic prejudice. He tears open galley shelves, dispatching plates shattering to the floor in a blasting harmony. Sophia's healing manuals soar through the atmosphere, their leaves fluttering like injured doves as he methodically wrecks all this clan has constructed. "Please, officer, you're ruining our residence," Sophia implores, her tone fracturing as she observes years of recollections dispersed over the surface. "We possess nothing to conceal. I can display my duty roster, my spouse's mission directives, anything you require to affirm our account." "Your account?" Harlan hawks, literally dispatching spit over the kin snapshots now crushed beneath his footwear. "Woman, I've listened to every sob tale in the volume. Service spouse, healing position, ideal small clan. It's all a cover for arms dealing and narcotics running." He seizes Sophia's bordered healing certification from the partition and launches it against the galley ledge. Crystal detonates everywhere, slicing through the quiet like fractured vows. The certificate that symbolizes 5 years of commitment to mending others now rests ruined, its silver emblem scattered in fragments. Jenkins observes in escalating terror as his associate crosses every lawful and moral boundary. "Harlan, this is over the top. We should record everything correctly. Summon a overseer. Close your trap, novice." Harlan spins about, his visage reddened with fury and power. "One additional term from you and I'll document you for defiance. 13 years I've been purifying this town while university lads like you lounge in lecture halls absorbing concepts." Above the planks groan more persistently. Somebody is certainly stirring, maybe utilizing the lavatory or fetching water. The sounds of ordinary existence in a calm residence. But Harlan deciphers every sound as possible, danger or offender deed. "That's enough," he growls, advancing toward the steps with hunter purpose. "Time to gather the entire arms ring. How many runners have you stashed up there?" "Those are my youngsters." Sophia weeps, placing herself between Harlan and the stairs. Liam's 9 years old. Mia's 13. They're frightened youths who merely desire their papa home secure. Youths make ideal arms carriers. Harlan jeers, his fingers now resting openly on his firearm. Tiny palms, pure visages. Syndicates adore employing them to shift merchandise. I wager they know precisely where Mama and Papa stash the premium items. The charge is so repulsive, so innately wicked, that Jenkins actually advances in objection. "Harlan, that's utterly unsuitable. These are young youths in their own residence," I said close up. Harlan's tone thunders through the dwelling like a blast. "Unless you wish to justify to inner probes why you're shielding arms runners instead of supporting your associate." Mia's terrified voice drifts down from above. "Mama, who's yelling? Is somebody attempting to injure us?" Sophia's core shatters into myriad shards. Her 13-year-old daughter, merit list pupil and future engineer, is huddling in her chamber, thinking savage offenders have invaded their refuge. The paradox scorches like venom. The true offender dons a shield and bears the state's power. "I'm present, darling," Sophia summons up tenderly, attempting to keep dread from her tone. "Just remain in your chamber with Liam till I fetch you." "All right." "Like blazes," Harlan snarls, ascending the stairs 2 per step. "Nobody issues commands in this dwelling except me. Time to probe every chamber for arms and illegal items. You can't probe my youngsters' chambers without a warrant." Sophia trails frantically, her parental drives surpassing her dread. "They're juveniles. They possess rights. This is unlawful." Harlan whirls on the staircase, his visage contorted with prejudice. "Your kids possess the right to stay mute when I detain them for arms holding. That's it." The menace lingers in the atmosphere like poisonous vapor. Jenkins comprehends he's observing something that will torment him eternally. The methodical ruin of a blameless clan by a biased enforcer intoxicated on authority and prejudice. In Liam's chamber, Harlan starts dismantling the 9-year-old's items. Replica jets smash to the ground, their meticulously built parts exploding into bits. A tech contest award-reading top spot robot build gets kicked into the partition. "Look at this dubious gear." Harlan jeers, elevating a play communicator. "Contact tool for organizing arms transactions. Quite advanced setup you're operating here. That's a plaything." Sophia sobs, observing her son's youth fantasies wrecked. He feigns chatting with his papa abroad. It lacks actual power cells, sure it does. Harlan pockets the plaything as proof, already building his false account for the enforcement document. Youths begin running young these days. Got to snag them before they advance to genuine firearms. Mia emerges in her portal, gripping a plush toy and donning sleepwear covered in animated clouds. Her gaze wide with dread as she observes a uniformed enforcer wreck her little sibling's chamber. "Mama, why is he shattering Liam's stuff?" She breathes, tears cascading down her cheeks. Papa always said enforcers safeguard youths. The purity in her tone fractures something basic in Jenkins's essence. He envisions his own nephew in this frightened young girl, acknowledges the deep betrayal of reliance that Harlan embodies. "Mia, return to your chamber," Sophia says softly, trying to protect her daughter from seeing more ruin. "Secure your portal and don't emerge till I instruct. Nobody secures any portals," Harlan orders, his tone resounding with total dominance. "I require entry to every chamber for a full probe, beginning with the young ladies here." "No." Sophia hurls herself between Harlan and her daughter's chamber. "She's 13 years old. You cannot probe a youth's chamber without a warrant and guardian approval. Observe me." Harlan pushes Sophia aside with effortless savagery, sending her staggering against the corridor partition. The Union photo dangling there drops in fragments, adding to the rubble of this clan's demolished existence. In Mia's chamber, Harlan initiates his breach of a young girl's personal area. He empties her trinket case, dispersing camaraderie bands and academy images over the surface. Her journal packed with pure musings about peers, assignments, and longing for her deployed papa gets flipped through leaf by leaf. Affection notes to arms runners, Harlan declares, elevating a leaf where Mia penned, "I long for Papa greatly." Encoded signals about when Papa's delivering the next load home. The distortion of pure terms makes Jenkins bodily ill. He's observing a 13-year-old's seclusion wrecked, her youth refuge breached by a soul who perceives criminality in all touched by darker complexion. Liam appears in the corridor, rubbing slumber from his gaze. "Why is the enforcer being cruel to us? Did we commit wrong?" The 9-year-old's query penetrates the poisonous environment like an invocation. Here stands purity embodied. A young boy who still trusts enforcers or champions, inquiring why his realm is being wrecked. "You're all set to commit wrong if you don't begin cooperating?" Harlan warns, now trapping the whole clan in the tight corridor. "Final opportunity to reveal where the arms and narcotics are concealed before I summon support and youth welfare." Sophia draws both youngsters near, forming a flesh barrier with her form. "There are no narcotics. There are no arms. We're a service clan." "We aid this nation's service clan?" Harlan guffaws with true mirth. "Woman, I've heard that tale 100-fold. Every arms runner in the land claims veteran status when nabbed. Good attempt." The sound of footfalls resounds from the primary chamber. Weighty, intentional strides that imply someone far larger than youths moving. Harlan's fingers instinctively shift to his firearm as his suspicion surges to perilous heights. "Who else is up here?" he demands, his tone taut with anxious vigor. "How many partners have you hidden in this arms depot?" "That's my spouse," Sophia breathes, her tone packed with frantic hope. "Lieutenant Marcus Ramirez. He can affirm all I've stated. He can show his service badge, his mission directives, his clearance level." "Your arms running bow, you imply?" Harlan interrupts with ethnic poison. "Time to gather the entire group and see what sort of setup you're truly operating." But as Harlan advances toward the primary chamber, his fingers on his firearm and prejudice in his core, he lacks knowledge that he's poised to face one of the nation's premier fighters. A honored battle expert who has devoted 16 years safeguarding the very charter that Harlan is breaching. The clash that will alter all is mere moments distant, concealed behind a chamber portal where an Army Ranger lieutenant is grasping for his formal attire. Sophia, still shaken from the shove, instinctively reaches into her scrubs pocket for her phone, to call for help, to record the madness, anything to document this nightmare. Her movement is quick, born of desperation, but in the dim hallway light, Harlan's paranoia twists it into threat. "She's going for a weapon," Harlan bellows, his voice cracking with fabricated fear. In a split second of blind bias, he draws his service pistol and fires. The shot echoes like thunder through the house, the bullet striking Sophia in the shoulder. She crumples to the floor with a cry of pain, blood blooming across her uniform as the children scream in horror. "Mama!" Mia and Liam wail, rushing to her side despite the chaos. Jenkins freezes in shock, his training failing him as the scene spirals into violence. "Harlan, what have you done?" "We had no cause." The master chamber door swings open with silent command, and Lieutenant Marcus Ramirez steps out like vengeance incarnate. His 6'3" stature dominates the portal, wide frame bearing the burden of 16 years protecting the country. The Army Ranger formal uniform suits him flawlessly. Sharp khaki shirt, olive jacket decorated with awards that recount stories of valor in battle. Harlan stumbles back, his biased bravado dissolving like fog at dawn. The silver medal reflects the corridor glow. The combat action ribbon shines with quiet honor. The Ranger tab, that revered mark forged through Inferno, positions boldly above a torso laden with battle honors. "Drop your firearm, officer." "Now." Marcus's tone bears the serene dominance of a soul who has led elite missions in the globe's deadliest spots. Harlan's grip shakes on his pistol, his mind racing to comprehend what he faces. This isn't some alley crook or arms dealer. This is an honored service officer in full formal, radiating the sort of deadly skill that stems from years of top-tier battle preparation. "We were answering a nameless hint about arms." Harlan stutters, his prejudiced assurance collapsing like a card tower. "Your wife was behaving dubious, reaching for items, thought she was armed." "My wife is a critical care healer who just preserved a youth's life," Marcus declares with crushing accuracy. "She was brewing herbal drink in her own galley after a 13-hour stint mending youngsters. You invaded our residence sans warrant, intimidated our kin, wrecked our belongings, and now you've shot her." Jenkins views in astonishment as the whole authority shift occurs in instants. Harlan, the hostile tyrant who seconds ago menaced youths, now appears like a pupil caught pilfering. "Lieutenant Ramirez, I'm Officer Jenkins," the novice states swiftly, advancing with evident relief. "I attempted to inform my associate we should confirm the account and request aid before entering your residence. Marcus's strategic evaluation is immediate and thorough. Decent enforcer, corrupt enforcer. One biased hunter, one honorable novice trapped in an untenable spot." His Ranger preparation activates, interpreting posture, assessing dangers, computing choices. "Officer Jenkins, I value your expertise," Marcus states, his tone preserving that lethal serenity that compels foes to yield sans combat. "Kindly log all you've seen here this night for your account." "Sir." "Affirmative, sir," Jenkins replies reflexively, identifying higher authority when he encounters it. Harlan comprehends his realm is imploding instantly. Every biased presumption, every unlawful deed, every breach of charter rights, now amplified by a shooting, is poised to be revealed. The nameless hint that led them here, a faulty shed portal, has guided him into a horror situation where he's wounded the spouse of an honored Army Ranger. "Lieutenant, there's been a mix-up," Harlan attempts frantically, his tone fracturing with alarm. The nameless hint cited arms, odd activity. "We were merely performing our duties, adhering to guidelines." "Guidelines?" Marcus's tone lowers to a murmur that somehow conveys more threat than any yell. "Your guidelines encompass invading homes sans warrants, menacing healers, warning 9-year-old youths, ruining private items, and discharging on an unarmed healer?" Mia peers from behind her father, viewing her papa in full-service magnificence for the first time post-return. "Papa, the enforcer harmed Mama. He shattered Liam's jet and claimed we were villains." The phrases hit Marcus like corporeal strikes. His young girl, merit list learner, future engineer, pure youth who still trusts in champions, has been intimidated by a biased enforcer in her own residence, and now her mother bleeds on the floor. "Darling, Papa's here now," Marcus states softly, never diverting his gaze from Harlan. "Nobody's going to harm our kin again. Jenkins, call for medical aid immediately." "My wife needs care." Jenkins nods, activating his transmitter with urgency. "This is Unit 52 requesting urgent medical and supervisor response. Officer involved shooting, civilian wounded. Send paramedics now." Harlan views his profession vanishing before his eyes. Shooting a ranger's spouse isn't merely profession ruin. It's the sort of error that topples whole enforcement units. The armed forces don't overlook when non-combatants misuse their own. "Lieutenant, please grasp our stance," Harlan pleads, desperation rendering his tone shrill and feeble. "Nameless hint, potential arms, enforcer security guidelines. We were just cautious." And she reached suddenly. "Cautious?" Marcus extracts his device with intentional accuracy. "Let me demonstrate cautious, officer. This is General Patterson at Army Special Operations Command. Quick dial. One call summons federal probes, service enforcers, and sufficient governmental force to entomb your whole unit." The peril lingers in the atmosphere like a primed explosive. Harlan comprehends he's not merely handling some arbitrary resident. He's assaulted the kin of a soul with direct link to defense headquarters, legislative partners, and the type of service camaraderie that never forsakes its members. "Sir, please," Jenkins intervenes, identifying the explosive choice Marcus offers. "Officer Harlan committed grave judgment errors this night, including the shooting. I'll bear witness to all I observed. Complete collaboration with any probe." Marcus examines the novice's visage, observing true regret and ethical bravery. "Officer Jenkins, I value your honor. It demands true mettle to advocate for righteousness." Harlan observes helplessly as his own associate deserts him, selecting honesty over tainted allegiance. The slim azure barrier that has shielded his prejudice for 13 years is ultimately fracturing. "The youths are distressed," Marcus proceeds, his tone gaining strength with each term. "My wife has been wounded in her own residence. Our items demolished. Our charter rights breached by a uniformed enforcer vowed to safeguard and aid." Liam stands beside his sibling, gazing up at his father with idle adoration in his 9-year-old gaze. "Papa, are you going to detain the bad enforcer?" The pure query delivers the ultimate strike to Harlan's crumbling realm. Even a youth identifies who the true offender is this night. Marcus crouches to his son's height, his tone soft but resolute. "Liam, at times villains don uniforms, but fairness always succeeds when decent folks unite. The authority reversal is total. Harlan, biased tyrant with a shield, now rests exposed as the genuine danger to communal security." Harlan's frantic efforts to rescue his profession crumble swifter than a sand fort in a storm. Perspiration dots his brow as he gropes for his transmitter, abruptly recalling he deactivated it to evade oversight. The minor act of severing contact now verifies his offender purpose. "Lieutenant Ramirez, this has all been a horrific confusion," Harlan stammers, his tone cracking like a youth nabbed thieving. "The nameless hints explicitly cite arms and dubious activity. We were responding to valid communal security worries." Marcus's guffaw holds no amusement, only the frigid accuracy of a fighter who has encountered true wickedness. "Nameless hint. Officer, permit me to instruct you on real dangers. I've pursued insurgents in Iraq for 16 years. You assaulted a healer preparing drink." Jenkins extracts his pad with quaking hands, at last discovering bravery to record the honesty. "Sir, I must note Officer Harlan's deeds for my event account. The unlawful invasion, warrantless probe, warnings against juveniles, the shooting, all of it." "Officer Jenkins, your uprightness is recorded," Marcus replies, his strategic thoughts already multiple steps forward. "Officer Harlan, you have 60 ticks to supply your shield number before I engage service paths." Harlan's visage pales as he comprehends the federal deluge poised to wreck his existence. Service clans don't merely submit grievances with local inner probes. They possess access to lawmakers, defense officials, and press links that reveal enforcement decay countrywide. "Shield number 3956, Harlan murmurs, his tone scarcely heard. "Captain Morales is my overseer, but she's offline till—" "She's online now," Marcus cuts in, extracting his device with purposeful ritual. "General Patterson, Army Special Operations Command, straight connection to the defense hub. One quick dial summons federal probes within hours." The device's display lights Marcus's visage as he navigates contacts, resembling a capital influence catalog. Representative Hayes on the defense panel. Lawmaker Ramirez, service expert who views enforcement violence gravely. FBI Associate Chief Vargas manages rights breaches. Harlan observes his world collapse instantly. Each title signifies profession ruin, federal accusation, and governmental blaze that demolishes whole units. His 13 years of biased enforcement have guided him to the one clan he should never have contacted. "Please, Lieutenant," Harlan implores, his tone shattering with despair. "I have a partner, offspring, home payments. This position is all I comprehend. Perhaps we can resolve this. Manage it inside. Manage it inside." Sophia's tone slices through Harlan's imploring like a medical blade, even as paramedics arrive to tend her wound. "You menaced to seize my youngsters. You labeled us arms runners. You wrecked our residence, distressed my babies, and shot me. Now you desire to resolve. Mia and Liam cling to their father's limbs, sensing secure for the first time since the horror started. Their papa has changed from powerless sufferer to the guardian they've always recognized. Papa is the cruel enforcer heading to prison?" Liam inquires with 9-year-old straightforwardness that cuts directly to fairness's core. Marcus crouches to his son's height, his tone soft but resolute. "Liam, when folks violate the law, even folks donning uniforms, they confront results. That's how fairness operates in the nation." Jenkins seals his pad with a conclusive click. "Lieutenant, I have all logged. Officer Harlan's deeds breached every training guideline, including the unwarranted shooting. I'll bear witness to the honesty despite profession results." The novice's ethical bravery impresses Marcus, who identifies the tough selection Jenkins makes. Opposing enforcement decay demands the same valor Marcus has witnessed in war areas. Officer Jenkins, the armed forces esteems uprightness above all. Marcus states, "Your account will aid guarantee this never occurs to another clan." Harlan comprehends his associate's collaboration seals his destiny utterly. No slim Azure barrier safeguard, no association unity, no unit concealment. Just the frigid honesty of his biased offenses revealed under fairness's stark glow. "I need to contact my association agent," Harlan mutters, clutching at his ultimate hope thread. "You need to contact a defense lawyer." Marcus amends with crushing accuracy. "In 10 minutes, you'll be under federal probe for rights breaches, attack with lethal arm, unlawful invasion, intimidation, official wrongdoing, and attempted homicide." Jenkins reaches control to account the event, his tone steady with fresh aim. "This is Unit 52 requesting prompt overseer reply and interprobes alert. Enforcer-involved misconduct needing federal probe. Civilian shooting included." The transmitter buzzes with stunned replies from control. Within moments, overseers will swarm the location. Within hours, federal probes will examine every aspect of Harlan's profession. Harlan's device vibrates with a message from his partner. Notice the alert about an enforcement event. "All fine?" The paradox scorches like venom. His own kin will soon learn he's become an offender menacing blameless clans. His offspring will discover their father intimidates other offspring. Fairness approaches swift and severe, and Harlan at last grasps he's impotent to halt it. The federal probe sweeps over the Coronado Bay enforcement unit like an inexorable landslide. Within 48 hours, FBI operatives claim the Interprobes Bureau. Army CID probes assess service kin guidelines. Justice Department rights attorneys inspect every instance Harlan has contacted in 13 years. Special Operative Carlos Torres heads the federal group, his strict visage announcing null leniency for enforcement decay. "Lieutenant Ramirez's instance isn't solitary," he proclaims at the crowded media session. "We've pinpointed a trend of charter breaches covering Officer Harlan's whole profession. The proof chamber brims with condemning records. Body recorder clips displaying Harlan's unlawful invasion and ethnic insults. Sound logs of his warnings against youths. Center files affirming Sophia's healing papers and duty roster. Service mission directives proving Marcus's abroad duty and valiant log. Most crushing of all, 9 extra clans advance with their own terror accounts of Harlan's misuse. Sofia Gonzalez, a grade instructor, depicts being restrained during a halt while her offspring observed. Imam Ahmed Khan recounts being held for driving while minority in his own locale. Each account constructs an unbreakable instance of methodical prejudice. The Coronado Bay enforcement head attempts harm management at a turbulent media briefing. "Officer Harlan's deeds don't embody our unit's principles," Chief Anderson asserts, sweat dotting his brow as journalists yell queries. We're enacting prompt changes and total collaboration with federal probes. What about the 13 years of grievances you overlooked? Yells Network 5's probe journalist. Inner probes got 19 official grievances against Harlan. Why wasn't he halted? Chief Anderson fumbles through evasive replies while demonstrators assemble outside. Service clans grip banners reading "Safeguard those who defend and fairness for Ramirez kin." The visuals are ruinous. Uniformed experts demanding responsibility from civilian enforcers. Harlan's lawyer, Michael Grant, tries an improbable safeguard at the federal court. My client executed instant choices under tense conditions. Grant contends before Judge Robert Sanchez, a prior Army prosecutor with zero tolerance for charter breaches. Counsel. Judge Sanchez cuts in with medical accuracy. Your client expended 52 minutes intimidating a healer and 2 youths in their residence, culminating in shooting her. Which instant choice endured 52 minutes? The accusation's instance unravels like a juridical orchestra led by federal accuser Laura Chen. Clip proof shows Harlan's biased remarks. Sound logs seize his warnings against youths. Center papers verify Sophia's valid position and character. Ladies and gentlemen of the panel, accuser Chen directs the 12 residents who will determine Harlan's destiny. This instance isn't about enforcement tasks. It's about a prejudiced hunter who employed his shield to intimidate a national clan aiding our country, including firing on an unarmed civilian. Marcus ascends the witness platform in full formal, his silver medal and combat ribbon speaking louder than terms. I've aided in Syria, Afghanistan, and secret operations globally. He bears witness with quiet honor. I never conceived the greatest peril to my kin would stem from those vowed to shield them. His tone never falters as he depicts discovering his wife wounded, his youngsters distressed, his residence wrecked. Officer Harlan didn't perceive a healer and an honored expert. He perceived complexion and resolved we were offenders. Sophia's account brings multiple panelists to tears, even as she testifies from recovery. I commit my existence to mending youths, she states, her healer's empathy radiating through court protocol. That night, I observed a uniformed enforcer menace to wreck my own youngsters' lives based on nothing but ethnic prejudice. And then he shot me mistaking my phone for a threat. Year-old Liam's effect declaration read by a youth advocate ravages the court. The enforcer was frightening and cruel. He shattered my jet that Papa gifted me and harmed Mama. I thought enforcers were supposed to be heroes. Jenkins's account as accusation witness terminates Harlan's final hope. Officer Harlan deactivated his transmitter to evade oversight. The novice bears witness with fresh valor. He disregarded my proposals for aid and correct methods. He operated beyond all unit guidelines, leading to the unjust. Shooting. The safeguard crumbles under accusatorial accuracy. Personality witnesses decline to back Harlan. Enforcement specialists denounce his deeds as criminally overkill. Even the Enforcement Association distances itself, acknowledging the instance's harmfulness. Harlan's partner and offspring sit in the gallery's rear, their visage carved with disgrace and incredulity. His son breathes, "Papa, did you really injure that lady?" The query lingers in the atmosphere, like a plea for salvation that will never arrive. Panel discussion endures precisely 112 minutes, scarcely sufficient for a meal. The decision resounds through the packed court. Guilty on all charges: rights breaches, attack with deadly arm, unlawful invasion, intimidation, official wrongdoing, attempted homicide. Judge Sanchez's penalty address becomes mythic in juridical groups. Officer Harlan, you betrayed every vow you pledged, breached every tenet of fairness, and intimidated a national clan aiding our nation, including discharging on an unarmed healer. Your deeds embody the utter worst of enforcement. The hammer drops with conclusiveness. 22 years federal incarceration. No parole chance for 15 years. You are eternally barred from enforcement. Your retirement is lost. This court wishes your penalty transmits a clear signal that shields and uniforms offer no safeguard for those who misuse their power. Harlan's legs weaken as federal guards approach with restraints. His partner's cries echo through the court as their offspring observe their father guided away in irons. The same soul who restrained blameless folks now dons them himself. Outside the court, press teams capture Marcus and Sophia's declaration. This isn't about vengeance, Marcus states, Sophia beside him with her arm in a sling, their youngsters securely at residence. This is about guaranteeing no other clan suffers what we endured. We pardon Officer Harlan, Sophia appends, her healer's empathy whole despite all. But pardon doesn't erase results. Fairness aids to shield other clans from living our horror. The civil agreement arrives 4 weeks later. $10 million from Coronado Bay, the biggest enforcement wrongdoing payout in municipal history. More vitally, the federal agreement order mandates thorough enforcement reform. Prejudice education, citizen monitoring, early alert structures, body recorder mandates. New enforcement head Michael Lee, imported from external the unit, addresses his initial community gathering. The Ramirez instance revealed systemic flaws we're dedicated to repairing. He announces to a filled hall. Community reliance must be gained via responsibility, openness, and regard for every resident's charter rights. National effect expands like waves in a lake. Legislative sessions inspect enforcement responsibility. The Ramirez law progresses through legislature, bolstering safeguards for service clans and boosting federal monitoring of local enforcement units. Enforcement academies countrywide now examine Harlan's instance as a warning narrative. This is what transpires when prejudice encounters power. Trainers instruct fresh trainees. Your shield is intended to safeguard and aid, not menace and wreck. Change arrives gradually but steadily. Coronado Bay witnesses a 50% drop in enforcement grievances within 24 months. Community bonds enhance as fresh leadership prioritizes alliance over conflict. Fairness delivered becomes the base for mending, reform, and hope that the framework can shield all equally under statute. 3 years later, the Ramirez kin stands in their rebuilt residence, no longer sufferers but conquerors in the struggle for fairness. The shattered image borders have been substituted, the dispersed papers refiled. The youngsters' chambers resound with joy instead of dread. Sophia resumes her critical care rounds each evening, but now she bears extra aim. Between preserving youth's lives, she addresses at enforcement academies and community panels about bias, respect, and the restorative power of responsibility. That night nearly wrecked our trust in the framework. She informs a filled hall at the Coronado Bay Society, hub, but it ultimately fortified our conviction that fairness triumphs when decent. Folks reject silence. Marcus has shifted from active ranger duty to civilian promotion, founding the Ramirez Institute for Enforcement Responsibility. His workspace partitions display missives from clans across the nation who discovered valor to report wrongdoing. After learning their tale, service education instructs you that true might stems from shielding those unable to shield themselves. Marcus ponders during a national broadcast interview. That tenet applies equally to enforcement tasks and kin existence. The youngsters have matured stronger through their trial rather than fractured by it. Liam, now 12, constructs replica jets with renewed zeal and discusses becoming an aviator who aids decent folks. Mia, 16 and merit-bound, offers time at the expert hub where her mother once aided. I want to be an attorney who battles for clans like ours, Mia announces during a academy vocation display. Villains donning uniforms shouldn't be able to injure blameless youths. The Coronado Bay Enforcement Unit has changed under Chief Lee's guidance. Grievance figures have fallen 80% while community contentment ratings hit record peaks. The federal monitoring that appeared punitive now feels protective. Officer Jenkins, elevated to investigator after his brave account, heads the unit's Fresh Community Bonds Division. The Ramirez instance taught me that true enforcement tasks mean shielding everyone's charter rights, he clarifies to trainee classes. The wider effect waves through national enforcement. 18 states have enacted enforcement responsibility measures inspired by the Ramirez instance. Body recorder mandates are now federal norm. Early alert structures flag troublesome enforcers before they wreck lives. Harlan serves his term at federal prison in South Carolina. His challenge is depleted and his title equivalent to enforcement decay. His kin moved to another region. His offspring compelled to switch academies and exist with their father's disgrace. Sometimes I ponder if Officer Harlan reflects on what he wrecked, Sophia muses during a serene kin meal. Not just our existences, but his own clan's future. Prejudice always wrecks the soul bearing it, Marcus affirms thoughtfully. Service preparation educates you to pinpoint real dangers. That night, we learned the most perilous foes sometimes don the uniforms of those vowed to shield us. The Ramirez Institute has aided 62 clans pursue fairness for enforcement wrongdoing, securing agreements totaling $32 million and compelling unit reforms in 15 municipalities. Each triumph builds on the example Marcus and Sophia set. Our suffering became aim, Marcus clarifies to clans starting their own juridical fights. Your valor to resist protects other clans from enduring what you suffered. The Institute's newest effort partners with service clans to log encounters with civilian enforcement, creating repositories that reveal patterns of bias against duty members and their clans. When enforcement misuse service clans, they're assaulting the very folks who defend their liberty to serve, Marcus announces at a defense briefing on civilian service bonds. That's not just uncharter. It's unloyal. Sophia's healing peers have embraced her promotion tasks, establishing center guidelines for logging enforcement wrongdoing against care providers. Healers aid everyone equally, she reminds her fellow care experts. We have an obligation to voice when anyone misuses that commitment to mending. The Ramirez residence has become an unofficial base for clans seeking fairness. Galley table talks plan juridical tactics. Den gatherings coordinate press drives. The same area Harlan breached now serves as refuge for others battling similar wars. Share this narrative with all you know. Marcus urges audiences as the view sweeps across kin snapshots restored to their proper spots. Endorse and track if you believe responsibility matters more than power. Remark below about enforcement reform initiatives in your society. Sophia appends, her healer's empathy clear even through virtual displays. Join for more narratives of clans who reject letting unfairness have the ultimate say. Liam and Mia appear on view. No longer the frightened youths from that dreadful night, but assured young nationals who comprehend their rights and duties. Here's what we want you to recall, Marcus concludes. His kin assembled around him in the residence where their horror became their mission. If this could occur to a honored Army Ranger's kin, what safeguard exists for clans without service links, press focus, or financial means to resist? His closing terms carry the gravity of experience and hope. The query isn't whether you'll observe unfairness in your lifetime. The query is whether you'll rise when you see it happening to others. Fairness postponed is fairness rejected. But fairness delivered reminds us that in the nation, no one is above the law.